In this module, I will be talking about teaching as performance. Before I go into the teaching talk as performance, we have to look at talk as performance alone. Now, in the last module, I haven't explained a lot about it, but in this module, I want to explain a little more about it. Talk as performance have to be seen through the real-world examples. Now, on everyday basis, we see it's a sort of monologue rather than dialogue. And monologics are formed in a written discourse rather than spoken discourse. So therefore, it is differentiated from talk as transaction as well as differentiated from talk as interaction. So talk as performance requires a different kind of skills, different kind of strategy to teach it in the classroom. Initially, talk as performance need to be prepared for and scaffolded in much the same way as written text, and many of the teaching strategy used to make understanding of the written text. But let me explain to you that written text has not to be staying in a written text, but in the cultural context and the social message that it delivers have to be transforming that in sort of a spoken exchange, spoken language. So therefore, it is essential for the classroom practice that we come up with all of the stuff and materials that are recorded of the speeches of the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of the UK, all of those prominent performance of presentations, lectures, and speakers, honorable speakers, have to be brought into the classroom so that we can give practice to our students and let them know that how the written text can be transformed into a spoken text. Now, it's also important to talk about teaching as performance is somewhat we have to evaluate it to understand it. We have to analyze it to understand it by asking or generating a set of questions. So, to guide us in this process, we have to ask some of those questions. For example, what is the speaker purpose? Who is the audience that are listening to you? What kind of information does the audience expect from the speaker? How does the talk begins, develop, and end? Is any special languages required? What moves or stages are there that are involved in sort of delivering a speech, presentation, or so on and so forth? So, students then work jointly on planning their own text in the classroom, which are then presented to the whole class. And the whole class is giving their comments and adding their extra points to it. According to Fees and Joyce approach, they say that teaching explicitly about the structures and grammatical feature of a spoken and written text lies in sort of a grammatical features they have to be accurately, and you have to be pronouncing accurately. He also emphasized on linking spoken and written text to the cultural context of their use. And when we bring the written text to the cultural context of the text, we transform a written word into a spoken words, and it delivers a message very easily to the audience. It conveys the social message for what the speech is written and the purpose in it. Fees and Joyce approach also talk about that we design units of work that focus on developing skills in relation to the whole text. So in this case, they have to be sort of building the context of the whole text. So I propose that in phase 1, building the context. In this stage, students are introduced to the social context of an authentic model of the text type that they've been studied in the class. in it explore the features of general cultural context in which the text type is used and the social purposes that the text type achieves. It also explores the immediate content of situation by investigating the register of the model text. An exploration of register is also the most important part that we had explored in the classroom practice. Because talk as performance is not only going by making speeches, but it also varies. So therefore, we must explore the register that could be used in talk as performance. And there are a variety of registers that have been used in talk as performance. Let me give you one example of this. For example, a job seeker is looking for a job, and there's an employer that's going to employ him. Now, he has to be using a different sort of register to perform accurately so that he can get that job. It is varies and different from somewhat talking to a friend, then talking to the interview panel and giving an interview for the job. Therefore, let me conclude that the teaching of talk as performance is very, very necessary function of speaking. It is existed in the real world. We are making speeches, we're performing on lots of activities in an authentic situation. So for it in the classroom, it is very necessary for teachers to bring that sort of atmosphere and sound natural and native-like in the classroom through those audiolinguals, videos, and recordings that can make it possible for students to learn talk as performance as better as they could.